Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to VLC for Strategic Management. We are doing chapter number 7. I see Syed is there, Sankaran is there, hey Sankaran, Bhumika is there, Diksha, Rajiv, Manoj, Darshan, Kiran, Suraj. Suraj has also made a Suraj as an emoji. Good to see that, Suraj. Okay, Hari Prasad has joined in, N Kumar is there, Krishna is there. We'll just wait for 30-40 seconds before we get going. And we are doing chapter number 7, which is organizational structure and leadership, which is strategic leadership, where we talk about all the functional corporate and business level strategies and how do they actually sync up with the structure of your organization. How does that even make sense, or how would you implement unless your structure is in place? So we are talking about all these structures since yesterday, right? We're talking about the simple structure, matrix structure, an hourglass, network structure. We're talking about M form, divisional, functional, right? From as the size of the organization increases, so does the complexity, so does the complications of the organizational structure, right? Okay, hi Vignesh, Navneet, Sakshi, Manisha, right? Patan, good, good. Yes, okay, Vigneshwari is there. Cool. Any questions, any doubts so far? Do not hesitate to ask them. We are just left with, I think, 3 more sessions, including today's. We have today's session and then 2 more next week. So do not hesitate to ask as many questions as you can, because beyond that, right? Beyond that, probably you might not be able to ask questions so frequently or with an instant answer. श्योर दर्शन जिधर लेना है ले लो, लंग्स किडनी लिवर जिधर लेना है ले लो. आप ही क्या है? खराब होगा तो मुझे क्या है? ठीक करवाते रहना. Sure, Omega, I can explain network structure again in brief. I'll do that. Evdesh, Monica. Alright, so Bhumika is asking if I can explain network structure in brief. Yes, for sure. So basically it's like an organization. It's like an organization. It's on the screen as well. So an organization is just focusing on the core competency. Think about it like your core competency is designing. So you only worry about designing, you outsource everything else. This is like an Amazon seller. Okay, this is like an Amazon seller. So Amazon seller is more like a network structure, wherein if you're selling a product, you're getting it manufactured by someone in, let's say, Indonesia. You're sitting in, yeah, India. Let's take a state. Let's say you're sitting in Ahmedabad. Okay, you're sitting in Ahmedabad. You get your products from somebody in Indonesia, right? Then you package and design it. Your core competency is packaging and marketing. So you go on social media, you do marketing, you're good at designing a product, you're packaging it very nicely, and you're selling it on the Amazon. So Amazon is doing all the logistics, order taking, accounting, taxation, all this for you is being done by Amazon. They're charging a commission for it, and you are just getting that product, designing it, warehousing it, and sending it across to customers and making money. This is also network structure wherein you only do the work you are good at. Rest everything you outsource, you get it done by somebody else, some other companies, while doing the function that you are good at yourself. All other functions, all other operations are done by some other organization which is not part of your organization. Okay. Sure, Darshan, I'll also miss a lot of you, but as I always say, I pray hard and I wish you guys do not have to come back and meet me, at least in the intermediate. Maybe I start uh, doing final as well, because I think final, maybe we have couple of new things that have come up with strategic management. But I wish and I hope you guys do not see me live again on a VLC. ठीक है, पास हो जाओ, निकल जाओ दोस्त आगे. क्या करना है वापस इंटरमीडिएट में आके. Cool. Okay, Bhumika understood. Perfect. we ended at hourglass structure, okay, where we were talking about widest at the bottom, narrow at the middle, and wider at the top. Wherein this was an example of startups wherein they have a lot of founders and investors. The middle management is not so big in terms of numbers, and the widest is a lot of interns and people working at the bottom of the execution level, that is the functional level, a lot of people there, and this is called an hourglass structure, right? Now, hourglass structure, very easy, pros and cons, positives and negatives. It reduces cost, right? While the con is less promotion opportunities because not everyone will move from this point to this point, right? हर कोई तो move नहीं करेगा because they do not have so many positions. So moving यहाँ से यहाँ आने के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा competition होगा because fewer positions at the middle level while a lot of people working at the bottom level. So you will see a lot of people leave startups as soon as they gain 2 or 3 years of experience because it's an hourglass structure, right? Zomato is doing और Zomato आजकल तो ऐड भी आ गई Zomato है या Zomato है कह रहे खुद दोनों ही बोल लो हमको क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Okay, Zomato is doing network structure or hourglass structure. They started with network but now they're full-fledged doing everything themselves. After the IPO they are doing everything themselves. Can an organization have two structures at the same time? For example, like outsourcing marketing and finance, which is network structure, and other activities into various functions, which is a functional structure. Absolutely, yes. See, I keep saying strategic management is a creative science, okay? It really depends on the management. What we are studying in the study material is just general things, it's just the basics. How you want to be creative around this is all dependent on the top management, or if you are doing a business, you as a business person has full independence and full advantage of being creative around how you want to use these concepts. There is no hard and fast rule ki दो या तीन नहीं हो सकते. I would say not just two, there can be three structures as well within the organization. They might have three SBUs. एक SBU को वो फंक्शनल स्ट्रक्चर होगा, एक SBU का डिविजनल होगा, एक SBU का नेटवर्क स्ट्रक्चर होगा, ऐसा भी हो सकता है, राइट? It is just about how you want to manage things, how you think you can better control things. This what we are studying is general science. Okay. Sure, Darshan. I wish I'll come to CA final as well. I've done foundation, I'm doing intermediate. I wish I'll come to final as well. Okay, cool. Let's get into the main topic where we left off yesterday is the strategic leadership, right? Now, why do you think, the question to you is, why do you think strategic leadership is so important in strategic management or especially in organizational structures? Why is strategic leadership so important? What does it do? Strategic leadership का असली काम क्या होगा? Give me some creative answers. Give me some good answers. Why do you think strategic leadership is an important thing in an organization, for an organizational structure, for a strategic management? Strategic leadership का क्या काम होगा? Essential, the core काम, the core responsibility of a strategic leader क्या होती होगी? To direct and motivate the employees towards organization goals. What else? I don't want answers only from one person. I want answers from all of you. You guys need to be active. Sunday है कोई बात नहीं. 7:15 हो गए हैं. आधी जनता 5 बजे से वॉक कर रही है दोस्त पार्क में. People are there cycling outside as well. So you gotta be awake as well. इतनी सुबह नहीं है कि हम 5 बजे उठ के पढ़ रहे हैं. It's already 7:15. Change agent Manoj. अच्छा, you have read it from the slide. But what does that mean दोस्त? Keyword तो दे दिया, but करता क्या है? Strategic planning, okay. To direct the firm to achieve their vision. ठीक है? It's important for them to keep them on track. What else? बस 2-3 लोगों को ही आंसर आता है. बाकी सब कहाँ सो गए? Because the leader gives direction. Without good direction, organization will not be able to achieve their goals. Management decision, implement the strategic action in the right way. Leader is the face of the management. The work is simply to manage them effectively. Strategic planning. Leadership is necessary as it provides role of leader to help employee direct and motivate the goals. Okay, strategic leadership helps in managing and directing all strategies for profitability of the company. Super solve सबको आता है और क्या चाहिए to ensure strategy is being implemented. ठीक है जी. Super. A change agent to initiate strategic changes to ensure the changes are successfully implemented. ठीक है जी. A strategic leader essentially, because BCK में पढ़ा है environment. अब they start linking. Okay, environment is dynamic, it's ever changing. If the environment is dynamic, the company will also have to be dynamic. If the company will have to be dynamic, that means strategy keeps changing, that means strategy keeps changing, right? And so does the management, so does the decisions. When there is so much change, we need somebody to let people know that these changes are important and we are going in the right direction. That is what a strategic leader does. They act as a change agent to initiate strategic changes in the organization and ensure that the changes are successfully implemented. इनका काम ही ये दोस्त कि वो strategic change management करे, वो changes लाएं, because environment is ever changing, the organization will keep changing, the strategy will keep changing with that, everything keeps changing, people will change, strategy will change, decisions will change, results will change, the organizational structure will change, planning will change, implementation ways will change, policies will change. Everything keeps changing on a regular basis. You need somebody to let people know that boss सब कुछ सही जा रहा है, सब कुछ change हो रहा है, but सब कुछ सही जा रहा है. That is what a strategic leader does, right? Rather than just solving problems, rather than just implementing things, the idea is change management. सबसे ज़्यादा strategic leader का काम change management है. Two people leave the organization, do a change management. Somebody is not working, do a change management. Your decisions, your strategy changes, do a change management. That is what a strategic leader does. Okay, change management. Now, strategic leaders, you would see, are based on two personalities or two leadership styles. Strategic leaders have, in general, two leadership styles. Number one is called transformational. Number two is called transactional. एक होता है ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल, एक होता है ट्रांजैक्शनल. ठीक है जी, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल है और ट्रांजैक्शनल है. Now, there is something written on the slide. Mr. Ratan Tata, Azim Premji, Narayan Murthy are celebrated business leaders because of the values they have institutionalized over their tenure as leaders. This means their personality, their way of managing such huge organizations with all of the change. They're managing organizations for the last 30, 40 years where everything has changed. Technology changed, the people changed, the society changed, the governments changed, the world changed, India's position changed, every single thing possible changed around their businesses, and still their businesses are one of the biggest top three businesses in India, right? Especially in the IT sector. So the thing to learn from them is that, boss, things keep changing. You as a strategic leader should know how to manage all of these change, all of this change, all of these things that are going around in the environment and within your organization, right? Now, two basic approaches to leadership are transformational and transactional. मुझे ये बताओ, what do you understand from the word itself? Do not tell me what the leadership style is, but what does transformational and what does transactional mean? क्या मतलब होता होगा इन words का? What do these words actually mean, right? And then we'll get into how they get into leadership styles. What do you think is the major difference between a transformational and a transactional approach? A transformational approach and transactional approach. क्या फर्क होता है? Transformational and transactional. What do you think is the difference between transformational and transactional? Transformational is evolving, transactional is adopting. Not necessarily say, which is it's a good attempt, I would say, but transactional is also evolving. It's just that the approach is different. But transaction also means evolving only. But they also evolve. It's not like they stop evolving. Transformational, one who makes major changes. Transformational means changing, and transactional means to give or get something. Transformational, making evident or necessary changes. Transformational is transform from one thing to another. Okay. And what does transactional mean? See, remember, both are strategic leader styles, so both of them would lead to change. Both of them will be working on change. ये भी change पे काम कर रहे हैं और ये भी change पे काम कर रहे हैं. So you cannot say one leads to change or one does or makes the necessary changes and other does not. Both of them are doing change. Both of them are working towards change. Both of them are making changes. It's just the approach. Transformation means to transform the followers, and transaction focuses on exchange between leaders and followers. Okay, Manisha, that's a good one. That's a good attempt. Okay. Transformation means transforming the employees and the organization. Transaction means acting as a link between the top management and the lower management. Okay, very bookish. ठीक है, but ले लेते हैं. Transformation must mean changing, and transaction must mean it takes in the monetary aspect. मतलब क्या बोलते हैं एम्प्लॉय को, चेंज हो जाए वरना 10,000 रुपए काट लूंगा. ट्रांजैक्शनल चेंजेस एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट. अच्छा जी, चलो जी, एक let me just give you some examples and you tell me if this is transformational or this is transactional. Okay, Mr. A. Mr. A. आपने have you seen uh, any motivational speaker? Can you name any motivational speaker you know of? टी का डंडा किधर गया दोस्त? अरे चढ़ जा मेरे दोस्त. Have you seen any motivational speaker? बताइए, कोई मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर देखे कभी? हिमांशु सिंह, संदीप, क्या संदीप कपूर, संदीप अग्रवाल? मैं आई एम अ वेरी गुड मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर सर. अरे बहुत बहुत मोटिवेशन देता हूँ आपको. खुद मोटिवेशन नहीं है मेरे में, आपको दे रहा हूँ मैं. वैसे काम तो यही है. Everybody says Sandeep Maheshwari. Nobody says Sadhguru. Okay. Sadhguru is also there. Very famous people right now. Now, these are transformational ways of bringing change. Okay. They are not giving you the process. They are not giving you the steps. Okay. Now, these people, these motivational leaders are not giving you the steps. They are not giving you what is to be done. They are giving you philosophical aspects and they are giving you ideas. They are opening your brain. They are wanting you to think about it and do something. They are pushing you. They are motivating you to do things and they are not giving it right at to you that boss, this is what you can do and this is, if you do this, this can happen to you in your life. No, they're not giving you the steps and processes. They're giving you ideas. They're giving you ideas to transform yourself. They're motivating you. They're opening a canvas of ideas for you that boss, go think about it. You should think in this direction. Think in this direction and do actions. Find what needs to be done, but do it in this direction. This is transformational approach. The transformational approach is you give them ideas. This is how you should think. This is what you should think. Transformational approach. Transactional approach is your parents. Your parents have a transactional leadership style. What they do is कल सुबह 6 बजे उठना शुरू हो जाओ एकदम. They're giving you the process. They're giving you what needs to be done. They're not saying आपको अपनी जिंदगी में अच्छा करना चाहिए. कह रहे नहीं मेरे को तेरे को मालूम है करने का है. But how? They're giving you the steps with a mandate, with a timeline. कल सुबह 6 बजे आप मेरे को वहां देखने चाहिए, राइट? आज रात 10 बजे तक ये सिलेबस आपको कंप्लीट करना, वरना मैं सोने नहीं दूंगा. Your parents are transactional leaders. They give you steps, they give you timelines, they give you what needs to be done, right? नहीं जाना, आप बाहर नहीं जाओगे, 7 बजे के बाद आप नहीं खेलने जाओगे. Transactional leaders, they might be leading to a change, they might be wanting change in you, they might be seeing external environment कि other kids are doing good, I want my kids or children to do good in life as well. But that is how they see things, and that is how they approach a leadership style. Is they give you process, they give you mandates, they give you what needs to be done, and they make sure you do that. Otherwise you get rewarded or you get punishment, right? That's a transactional leadership style. Your parents giving you a mandate, a process, and if you do not complete, you get a punishment. If you complete, you get a reward. This is transactional. While all these motivational leaders, all things that good that you hear about is transformational, which are giving you a direction to think about. They're not telling you the exact thing, but both of these approaches, both of these leadership styles are actually leading to change, actually leading to change management, actually telling you what needs to be done in the longer run, what is good for you, what is happening around, what should be done. This is how the two leadership styles are. Okay. Manoj says, my mom is transformation leader. Good for you, Manoj. Congratulations. But you know, there is no harm in being transactional at times. When the people you are managing are really tough, when the people you're managing are very lazy, when the people you're managing are very stubborn and always questioning things, while you as an elder or as a leader or as a top management in business know that boss, what you're saying and thinking is not how things are, then sometimes you might also want to do transactional leadership, right? कि भैया ये है ये करना ही पड़ेगा. Otherwise, the people at the lower level, even in business, might not see what you at the top level can see, right? यार धंधा बंद होने की कगार पे है, वो कह रहे नहीं नहीं हम तो डिजाइन हम तो बहुत अच्छा करेंगे और खर्चा करेंगे. कह रहे कर लो खर्चा, बंद हो जाएगी कंपनी, फिर नौकरी ढूंढते रहना, right? Which one is suitable? Let's study. आगे चलते हैं. चैप्टर भी खत्म नहीं हुआ है, टॉपिक भी खत्म नहीं हुआ है. ओके. Transformational leadership style uses charisma and enthusiasm to inspire people. To inspire people. Charisma and enthusiasm to inspire people. Keywords, dost. These are keywords, transformational. To inspire people, to exert them for the good of the organization. They inspire involvement in a mission. आओ मिलके करते हैं, आओ साथ में करते हैं, आओ सखी चुगली करते हैं, right? That is what they do. In terms of, I'm just giving you an example. Okay, they inspire involvement. They tell people, boss, let's come together. Let's be a team. We are like a family. We are like a team. Let's go and do that. ठीक है, इसको बोलते हैं transformational. Okay. Now, the followers, they give followers some dreams, they give them visions, they give them higher calling, right? Ki, let's come together, let's bring changes, let's do this, let's innovate something new, let's do something new, right? Right. Rajiv is saying he is, and she's saying, okay, Rajiv is saying, I'm transactional leader for my younger brother. Very good. दो चांटे लगा के काम करवा रहे. Charisma, Himanshu means करिश्मा क्या होता है? करिश्मा नहीं पता आपको? करिश्मा इज मतलब आपकी क्या बोल सकते हैं पर्सनालिटी, और वी वुड से करिश्मा इज लाइक you are so exuberant in terms of you make people want to listen to you, right? That is your charisma. शाहरुख खान के अंदर charisma है, right? When he is on the stage, people want to listen to him. People feel that हाँ हमसे बात कर रहा है. That is his charisma, right? That is his personality. That is how he is perceived by the public. That is how he like outperforms himself on stage or in front of people. Okay. Examples of transformation एलॉन मस्क पहले हुआ करता था. आई थिंक नाउ ही इज ट्रांजैक्शनल लीडर. अभी तो ट्विटर बंद कर दो, ₹5 $5 लगा दो, ब्लू टिक लगा दो, ये वो लटरम पटरम सब ही इज डूइंग. Earlier, he used to be a transformational leader where he used to bring ideas and let people work. Now he's becoming transactional. ये करेंगे, ऐसे करेंगे, तुम करोगे, तुम नहीं करोगे, right? From transformational, he's turning more into transactional. Okay, this is number one style. The second one is transactional. The second one is called transactional leadership style, which focuses on, okay, which focuses on designing systems and controlling the organization's activities. It's more like associated with improving the current situation, building an existing culture, right? It's like they try to start building a process, controlling, designing systems, controlling the organization activities, right? That is what I was saying. Our parents, they are transactional leaders. इतने बजे ये होगा, ये काम करेगा, आप ये लेके आओ, वो नहीं कर सकते, ये नहीं कर सकते, वो कर सकते हो, ये करना चाहिए, ये नहीं करना चाहिए. All of this is transactional leadership style. They want to build on existing culture. They want to build on the existing things, enhancing the current possibilities and practices. आज की डेट में ये होता है, let's continue doing that. Let's do this, let's do that, right? This is transactional leadership style. One can be both transformation and transactional. Absolutely, yes. Depending on the people, depending on the situation. It's situational leadership, right? Situation क्या है, उसके हिसाब से you decide whether you want to be transformational or you want to be a transactional leader. Manoj, you think I'm a transformational leader? Thank you for that. I think I'm not even a leader, Abhi. I'm just like, जो करना है करो. I have best approach. I'm like, जो करना है करो. Do whatever you want to do, man. But don't trouble your mother. Big boss क्यों आ गया? Can you elaborate, giving examples of nano project, Tata fight? See, that was also transformational, right? When nano was being done in West Bengal, it was being produced in West Bengal. There were political problems. There were problems with the administration. So Ratan Tata, instead of controlling or designing or doing यही करते हैं वही करते हैं, it was more like a transformational leader, right? He inspired the entire team. That's okay. There'll be a cost, but let's move our factory. This is our dream. We need to fulfill that. We need to bring nano to India. We need to deliver a car for the average middle class Indian family of four. We have to do that. We have a dream. We have a vision. He was inspiring his team to take the risk of moving the entire factory to Gujarat, right? That is a transformational leadership style. Political leaders are always transformational. Himanshu, no comments. I wish they were transformational, but ठीक है. अभी तो मैंडेट ही देते हैं ना, ये होगा प्रोसेस चेंज, आज से ये नया लॉ. Okay, strategic leadership. Managers have 5 leadership roles for good strategy execution. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this meme or not. It's a fantastic meme. I've just put a photo here. All right, which is like, अच्छा ज्ञान दे रहे हो. Continue. Managers have 5 leadership roles for a good strategy execution. ठीक है जी. 5 रोल है, 5 काम है इनके. कौन से काम है? नंबर 1 काम is monitoring execution. क्या काम सही चल रहा है? क्या काम सही चल रहा है? Is the work on track? Is the strategy on track? Are we executing it in the right direction? Second is promoting a culture of esprit de corps. Now, esprit de corps means spirit of team. Spirit of being a team. Okay. or it's called spirit of being a company, a corporation, right? Promoting a culture of esprit de corps, which means we are together working as a team. There should be a culture of team. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए एक आदमी एक person in the organization is the hero or the heroine of the company. That boss, everyone listens to her. What she says is being done. No feedback. Nobody's listening to other people. It should be more like a team. It should not be a one person show. It should not be a one woman show, right? It should not be a one man show. It should be a team. It should be a team where everyone is heard, everyone can take decisions, everyone knows that we can share ideas, they will be accepted, they will be listened for, we will have a feedback, people will tell us whether our idea makes sense or not. There's a spirit of a company, there's a spirit of a team. ये मैनेज करना लीडर का काम है दोस्त, राइट? ये काम करना इज लीडर का काम. Monitoring execution means whether the strategy is on track or not. It's called the monitoring execution. ठीक है sir? Okay. Now think about this दोस्त. See what is, if you look at the 5 things and you look at MS Dhoni, right? Take an example of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. 5 leadership roles, monitoring execution. Whether the ballers are doing the right things, whether the batsmen are on the right run rate, right? Spin कब लानी है, Yorker वाला कब लाना है, fast pace कब लाना है, medium pace कब लाना है, right? Monitoring the execution of the strategy, that we have to stop the team at 150. Or if we are chasing, we need to chase down 90% of the score in 15 overs itself, so that we are not in a difficult position in the last 5 overs, right? This is a strategy. Now, what are you doing is you're monitoring execution. Second, what MS Dhoni does is promoting a culture of team. It's not like सब कुछ जडेजा करेगा. जडेजा को हवा दिए जा रहे हैं, बाकी प्लेयर्स कह रहे हैं यार हम भी तो टीम में हैं, हमारी भी सुन लो, हमें भी देख लो, right? It should not be that people feel left out. That is what promoting a culture of esprit de corps means. Work as a team, take everybody along as a team. Number 3, responsive to changing conditions. 5 विकेट गिर गई दोस्त 3 ओवर के अंदर अंदर. Changing conditions, how do you respond to that? How do you build a new strategy quickly and start executing that for a turnaround? Right? Responsive to changing conditions. People left, कोई retired hurt हो गया, right? Empire ने गलत decision दे दिया, बारिश हो गई, कुछ भी हो सकता है मैच में ना. So how do you respond to changing conditions is what your role is. You have to respond to changes very quickly. Exercising ethical leadership. Exercising ethical leadership means you have your principles and values. Ethical होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है you are promoting bribery कि भैया प्लेयर्स आ रहे हैं, धोनी को मैच से पहले 2-2 लाख रुपए दे रहे हैं कि यार मेरे को प्लीज ओपनिंग करवा दो, या मेरे को ओवर दे देना प्लीज, जो इजी बैट्समैन है उसके अगेंस्ट मुझे ओवर दे देना, मेरे को 1-2 विकेट्स मिल जाएंगी, ये लो 5 लाख रुपए. Not doing that, right? Exercising ethical leadership, even in businesses, right? You need to have a culture of ethics. Only then your team will have a culture of ethics. अगर आप ही जुगाड़ू बन जाओगे, अरे ये ऐसे कर लेते हैं, अरे वैसे काम निकाल लो, अरे ऐसे काम निकाल लो, your business will never scale up. When you want to scale up your business, you need to be super ethical. Sometimes you might have to take tough decisions. Sometimes you will have to break out from your own values. You might, but majority times, like, you cannot be a sadhu doing a business, right? You have to be clever, not cruel, I would say. Or you have to be clever. You do not have to be like, what do I say? Unethical, right? चोर नहीं बनना है, clever बनना है. You have to be sharp. You have to be street smart. But you do not have to be a chore or a mafia or a fraud, right? That is what exercising ethical leadership. Now, all these people, मेरे को एक अच्छी चीज याद आई बोलते बोलते. All of you who have been using words like scam and fraud, you can use that, but use unethical activities. The word you can use is unethical activities in place of frauds and scam. Let's say for example, avoiding unethical activities or keeping a check on unethical activities rather than saying ताकि fraud ना हो. You're saying to curb, to keep a check on, to stop unethical activities. Right, that it's a good word, right? आपकी बात भी आपने बोल दी और आपको मार्क्स भी मिल गए, अच्छे से भी लिख दी. राइट. नंबर 5 इज पुशिंग करेक्टिव एक्शंस. भैया जहाँ पे काम नहीं हो रहा है, पीपल हु आर नॉट वर्किंग, strategies are not working, people are not responding in the right way to you as a leader, you go and tell them, boss, listen, this is not working, right? We need to take something, we need to change something, you need to be better at it, your performance is not giving me the results I want, you need to buck up, you need to speed up, you need to give me solutions. Those do that. Pushing for corrective actions is what strategic leaders also do, right? Pushing for corrective actions for people, दोस्त ये करना है आपको, वो करना है आपको. So the 5 roles: monitoring execution, promoting culture of esprit de corps, responsive to changing conditions, exercising ethical leadership, and pushing corrective action. Simple. Very good. Darshan, I'm a fan of Dhoni or not? I'm a fan of everyone दोस्त. जो अच्छा करता है मैं उसका fan हूँ. Easy है ना, convenience के fan है हम लोग तो भाई. कल को कोई और अच्छा करे हम उसके fan बन जाएंगे. Very convenient. लोग कह रहे जज कर रहे कैसे मतलब ही हो. Okay. Strategic leadership role in implementation. See, a manager with strategic leader has the ability to guide the company, influence behavior, thoughts and feelings of the coworker. भैया याद कर लो इसको. ये है keywords of strategic leader. Ability to guide the company, influence the behavior of the people, the thought of the people, and feeling of the co-workers. Right? A strategic leader is at every stage of strategic management and has the biggest role to play in implementation of strategy, and has the biggest role to play in implementation of strategy because भैया वो सब कुछ देख रहे हैं from starting to the end. How is this being implemented, whether it is implemented in the right way, whether they have to be transformational, they have to be transactional, सब कुछ काम करना है उनको. राइट. सारा काम दिमाग पूरा अपना लगा के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में दे हैव टू वर्क. राइट. एंड दैट इज व्हाट स्ट्रेटेजिक लीडर इज ऑल अबाउट. कि भैया फीडबैक लो, इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स बनाओ, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करो, मैनेजमेंट कंट्रोल करो, पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन है, प्लानिंग है, करेक्शन है, चेंजेस है, हायरिंग है, managing new hires, managing existing people, promoting people, doing people management, doing policy management, being compliant, being responsive, having connections with the government, having connections with the suppliers. सब कुछ आपको करना है, right? So strategic leader should have the ability to guide the company, influence the behavior of others, thoughts of others, and feelings of the co-workers, that they feel all right. If this person is there, if he or she is leading the company, boss, they're doing it right because they are smart, they have the ability to influence, they have good ideas, and they do not hesitate to take feedback. That is what strategic leaders do, my friend. Okay, जी. Very good, है जी. Yes, Darshan. I am a fan of you also because you're doing great in life. Okay. ये आज तक एग्जाम में आए नहीं दोस्त, you can skip. Right. Effective strategic leadership कभी नहीं पूछा गया. There's no point. Okay. The next topic corresponding to strategic leadership is corporate culture. Corporate culture के कुछ examples दीजिए मुझे. मुझे मालूम है क्या होता है कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर, आपको भी पता है व्हाट इज कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर. आई वांट यू टू गिव मी सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर. आई वांट यू टू गिव मी सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर. कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर के एग्जांपल देना दोस्त, मुझे डेफिनेशन नहीं चाहिए. डोंट टेल मी व्हाट इट इज, आई नो व्हाट इट इज. व्हाट इट इज ये दो बार क्यों निकल रहा है? ठीक है, यू हैव टू गिव मी एग्जांपल्स ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर. This in the company's corporate culture. This in the company's corporate culture. What is corporate culture? Some examples. Let's see if you know. Dressing code is a corporate culture. Good one. It is. Chinmay, Devesh, Guriri, you need to answer as well. I see your messages are coming. I think Devesh, Chinmay, Guriri, you need to, I think, update your app because I see your messages in a different tab. When I go to a different tab, then only I can see that. Maybe you, after this class, don't do it right now. After this class, just maybe update your app if you're using the app, okay? ICI code of conduct, Chinmay says, work hard, party harder is corporate culture. क्या बात है? Mr. David Guetta Das, we play hard, we party hard. Mr. Chinmay, David Guetta Das, सही कह रहे हो. Being formal in office, don't share last company information, corporate culture, ethical values of a corporate culture, communication, बस communication बात खत्म. Syed always gives one word answer. Communication. सैयद अपना बीसी के खत्म हो गया दोस्तों, वहाँ पे वन वर्ड पे मार्क्स मिलते थे, इधर आंसर लिखना पड़ेगा. गिविंग गिफ्ट टू एम्प्लॉयज एट दिवाली इज ए कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर. कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर नहीं दोस्त, वो तो लॉलीपॉप है. लेट मी टेल यू some examples of corporate culture. See, corporate culture can be people not poking into your personal life. It's a corporate culture. People being very professional is a corporate culture. Nobody asking you if you get up and leave the office at 2:30 in the afternoon. Nobody cares. Nobody asks you unless you're doing your work. Corporate culture. Or maybe you cannot leave the office until your boss leaves the office because you're scared अरे क्या सोचेंगे, and that is what the feeling is in the office कि boss से पहले नहीं जा सकते घर. That's a corporate culture. Both are corporate cultures. It can be good, it can be bad. It really depends on you. Corporate culture is you cannot ask questions to your direct managers. You only have to listen to what they say. It's a bad corporate culture. You cannot give feedback to the HR that boss what is going wrong in your organization. That's a bad culture, right? There is no team bonding activities. People are not concerned about teams. They saying अपना काम करो, घर जाओ, पैसे कमाओ. ये हमारे साथ ये करते हैं, कुछ नया करते हैं, आओ बैठ के कुछ नया देखते हैं. नहीं, please, we are not interested. That's a bad corporate culture. This is corporate culture. It means the company's values, the beliefs, the way it functions, the traditions of the office, the ways of operating, internal work environment, plus the management preaches and practices. क्या ज्ञान दे रही है management in its ethical standards, official policies. You cannot bribe, you cannot give gifts, you cannot take things from the office for your personal use. That's a corporate culture, right? And the corporate culture should always be supportive of the strategy. If the strategy is growth, if the strategy is growth strategy, your corporate culture needs to be very free. You need more ideas. You need people to be enthusiastic. If your corporate strategy is turn around, you're working on a turnaround strategy, there will be some bad corporate culture because the company is going down. You need to be aggressive a little, right? ये होना चाहिए. They have to be hard stops on things. The leaders will be aggressive. The corporate culture will be a little toxic. A corporate culture will be a little harsh, not at as easy as it is in the growth stage. The corporate culture also changes with the strategy, and it should. Only then you can execute it to the best of the capacity of the company, right? So corporate culture moves as the strategy moves, but it should always be supportive of the strategy. Now you have a growth strategy and your corporate culture is lazy. Nobody cares. People are coming at 12 in the afternoon and going home by 2. कि ठीक है ना, काम हो जाएगा, किसको जल्दी पड़ी है. Nobody is asking for our work. There are no reviews. People don't care about it. So your company is never gonna grow, dost. Bad news for you, it's not gonna grow, right? The culture should be people are getting into work at 10. They're excited about things. They're looking forward to meetings. They're looking forward to working together to figure out solutions to build something with the organization. That's a corporate culture. And that comes top down. जब ऊपर के बैठे लोग are excited about the company, it drills down uh, to the lower levels, right? It drills down. They also feel motivated and excited. Boss, हाँ करना है, हाँ करना है, हाँ करना है. That's what a corporate culture is, right? Work from home or work from office is also a part of corporate culture now. Are they giving ease of work for the employees or not? And employees are concerned about that. भाई घर से काम मिल रहा है तो हम नौकरी करेंगे, नहीं मिल रहा तो keep your नौकरी. I just want to stay in my hometown and work. That is also what people preferences are now. Right or wrong depends on everybody. What your aspirations are, what your aspirations are not. However, if you're working from office, the first at least 5 to 7 years, if you're in the early stages of your career, you should go to office. उसके बाद ज़्यादा ज़रूरत नहीं होती है, to be honest. But in the early 5 7 years, you cannot miss the office. You got to meet people, you got to learn to talk to people, right? वो तो जाके ही होगा. Okay, strategy supportive culture. Role of culture in strategy execution क्या है? Okay, an organization culture is either an important contributor or an obstacle. It can be either of the two. Exam के लिए भैया statement याद कर लो. Corporate culture. Corporate culture can either be a support or an obstacle. Obstacle means रुकावट, पत्थर, ईंटा. जो समझना है समझो. It can either be an important contributor or it can be an obstacle to successful strategy execution. राइट. एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल कल्चर आपको या तो आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी बहुत सही बना देगा, वेदर इट विल क्रिएट और डेवलप अ स्ट्रैटेजी विच इज फैंटास्टिक, विच इज सो इन सिंक विद द स्ट्रैटेजी, द कल्चर एंड स्ट्रैटेजी सो इन सिंक, यू डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट एग्जीक्यूशन. और इट कैन बी अ टोटल मैडनेस, इट कैन बी chaos कि भैया क्या हो रहा है समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, they're not matching, and then it becomes an obstacle in your success story. Okay. You can't work for two companies at a time like TCS, Infosys. You can work for two companies, no issues. Tech Mahindra. ठीक है अवधेश, लगता है टेक महिंद्रा में यू हैव सम रिलेटिव और योर पेरेंट्स वर्क इन टेक महिंद्रा, ज़्यादा ही ऐड हो रही है टेक महिंद्रा की. Okay. Strong culture promotes good strategy execution when there's a fit and impedes execution when there's negligible fit. That means that is what I was talking about. Growth strategy है तो भाई culture भी growth का होना चाहिए. If your strategy is turn around, your culture should also be aggressive, right? कि यार turn around करना है. People should not be lazy or people should not be aspirational or dreamy कि ये हो जाएगा, नहीं. इट्स अ क्विक डिसीजन मेकिंग, जल्दी जल्दी टर्न अराउंड करना है, बिजनेस डूब रहा है फटाफट से एक्शन करो, राइट? So your culture should be supportive of your actual strategy that you have decided for your company. Okay, it is the strategy maker's responsibility to select a strategy compatible with the sacred or unchangeable parts of the prevailing corporate culture, right? The leaders, the corporate management, the strategy makers, which is the corporate level in the organization, they need to ensure कि दोस्त हमारी जो culture है, हमारा जो culture है, it should be in line with the strategy that we have. Our culture and strategy should sync together. Isolation में नहीं होने चाहिए. That is what they make sure. That is what their work is at the end of the day. Strategy supportive culture. Enough of it. मैं खुद ही बोर हो गया हूँ इस टॉपिक से. एक ही चीज 500 बार पढ़ा दी है. Okay, you know this. I've already done. And the next topic, almost the last topic, entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, right, is basically. अच्छा आपसे पूछता हूँ, चलो. Before I explain, you tell me what is the difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. What is the difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship? एक होता है entrepreneur, एक होता है intrapreneur. फर्क क्या है? What is the difference between the two, or how are the two different? Right. Confidentiality about things. Meet is saying, then Devesh says, come office at time and go back home at time. Okay, culture. Nike, just do it. It's a tagline, but all right. So you're right. The strategy, the motto, the culture of the company should also be just do it then. It shouldn't be like, let's not do it. The culture and tagline is just do it. मैच ही नहीं करेगा. सही जा रहे हो. Okay. Entrepreneurship for internal company use only. For internal company use only. Entrepreneurship क्या कोई machine है? Entrepreneurship means organizing a business, and intrapreneurship means working in existing business. इतना सारा ज्ञान नहीं देना था सैयद, इतना सारा ज्ञान नहीं देना था मनोज. ये तो भाई आंसर ही नहीं किया आपने. मीन्स वर्किंग इन एग्जिस्टिंग बिजनेस, राइट? ओके, बट फिर उसमें उसको इंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, वो तो नॉर्मल एम्प्लॉय भी कर रहा है. वर्किंग इन एन एग्जिस्टिंग बिजनेस तो एक एक दोस्त रिसेप्शन भी लोग बैठ के कर रहे हैं. चौकीदार भी यही कर रहा है. तो चौकीदार एंटरप्रेन्योर है क्या? Entrepreneurship means entrepreneurs are who innovate and take risks. Entrepreneur are employees. Every employee is an entrepreneur. आपके आंसर से तो मुझे क्या लग रहा है? Every employee is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship means the person who has started or innovated a new idea to start a business. Okay. Both relate to innovation, but entrepreneur do business themselves and entrepreneur are the employees who just gave ideas. The closest answer I've got as yet. Okay, cool. Let's understand this. Let's understand the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneur. बहुत ही simple है, बहुत ही basic है, कोई फर्क ही नहीं है ज़्यादा. Entrepreneurship involves initiating a new business or a business idea, recognizing or right finding business opportunities is entrepreneurship. Taking risks is entrepreneurship. Arranging and coordinating resources like capital, technology, human talent, all of this is entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is finding a business idea, recognizing a business opportunity in that business idea, facing the risks and uncertainties, and accumulating, arranging, and coordinating resources of money, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड ह्यूमन टैलेंट. ठीक है जी, ये करता है एक एंटरप्रेन्योर. एंटरप्रेन्योर आइडिया ढूंढता है, उसको एग्जीक्यूट करता है, रिसोर्सेज लाता है और उसको बड़ा बनाने में जुट जाता है. while an entrepreneur while an entrepreneur क्या करता है? Entrepreneur is nothing but an entrepreneur which operates within the organization. They discover new ideas, look for opportunities that can benefit the organization, and take risks, promote innovation, and improve the performance and profitability of the company. Okay? Entrepreneur are people who are risk takers, who are innovators, who have ideas, but within the organization, they work for an organization as an innovator, as an entrepreneur. वो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करते हैं एज एन इंडिपेंडेंट एंटरप्रेन्योर कि भैया इस कंपनी के लिए कुछ नया करना है, राइट? Now, it has become a trend that large corporations appoint entrepreneurs. They figure out the skills of risk taking, decision taking, innovation, doing something new. Do you have these skills? When you go for interviews, they ask you questions which give them the idea about your skills. What have you done that became a big thing in your organization? How did you manage change? How do you manage your time? right? How do you get 5 crore rupees for investment, right? How convince me to give you 5 crore rupees for a business idea that you have. They ask these questions in the interviews and you'll be like, बॉस मैं तो नौकरी करने जा रहा हूँ, ये क्या मेरे से ऐसे क्यों आंसर्स पूछ क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे हैं? Because they're checking if you're an entrepreneur or you are a random normal employee. If you're a random normal employee, they'll be like, okay, इनको basic काम करवाना है हमें. If they figure out the skills and you are entrepreneur, they will keep you in strategy, they will keep you in roles that need to talk to the leaders, wherein you sit down with the leaders to identify things and then work on actions. That is called entrepreneur. You figure out new things, you bring in new ideas on the table, right? That is what an entrepreneur does. That is the difference between an entrepreneur and intrapreneur. Essentially, psychologically, physiologically कोई फर्क नहीं है. The only difference is within the organization or a separate business altogether. You just have to figure out what you want to do, right? You want to take risk on the money of the company, or you want to take risk on your own money. बस इतना सा आपको देखना है, and your entrepreneur and entrepreneur are done. Okay. With that, your chapter number 7 is also complete. सिर्फ chapter number 8 बचा है अब. Chapter number 7 is also complete. Right? Only chapter number 8 is left, which will take 2 sessions today and next Saturday. And then Sunday we have told we'll do exam questions, पूरा exam paper solve करेंगे. Right? We will do that as well. Any questions, any doubts so far? Let's spend 2-3 minutes on any doubts or anything that you have before I jump on to chapter number 8. Or if I think it's already 8 o'clock, we can take a 10 minutes break right now and then we continue with chapter 8 ताकि flow बना रहे. My suggestion is we take a 10 minutes break right now because we're changing chapters. Let's take a 10 minutes break and come back and then do chapter 8. But right now, let us just spend 2-3 minutes on any doubts and questions you have. Okay. That means entrepreneurs are secondary entrepreneurs working under entrepreneurs, sir. Absolutely. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Sure, Suraj, I can explain the difference, but question क्या है? Entrepreneurship, okay, entrepreneurship. Difference किसके बीच में जानना है सूरज? ये तो लिख दे दोस्त. For sure I can explain the difference, but किसके बीच में हो? Difference between what? Absolutely, Chinmay. I'll just solve a few doubts and then we'll be taking a break of 10 minutes because I don't want to continue a new chapter. I want to break the flow and then continue with chapter 8. सूरज, डिफरेंस बिटवीन entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship यही पूछ रहे हो? वही तो पढ़ रहे हैं सर हम. Entrepreneur is somebody who takes risk on their own money and resources and does their own business, while entrepreneur is somebody who is an employee and still they innovate and bring new ideas for the organization. वो आप ऐसे समझ लो एक एम्प्लॉय entrepreneur रखा हुआ है कंपनी ने, उसको entrepreneur बोलते हैं. Okay. Difference between employees and entrepreneurs. Employees are anybody who is working in the organization as an employee. Entrepreneurs are also employees. However, their role, their responsibilities are more around innovating, bringing ideas, letting organization take risk. ठीक है, push करते हैं organization को do something new, to bring something new for the customers, to solve some problems or existing problems of the customers. उनको entrepreneurs बोलते हैं. No difference between the authority of an employee and an entrepreneur. Absolutely, yes, they are employees only. Entrepreneurs are employees. CEO, general manager, भाई सब entrepreneur होते हैं. The CEO of an SBU is an entrepreneur. They are an employee. CEO is an employee of the company, but भैया उनका काम है इसको अपने धंधे की तरह चलाओ. Work like an entrepreneur. The CEO of take any big company, किसी भी बड़ी कंपनी के सीईओ उठा लो. They are employees at the end of the day. सैलरी मिलता है दोस्त, प्रॉफिट तो नहीं मिलता है ना. प्रॉफिट तो कंपनी का होता है, शेयर होल्डर का होता है. हाँ, दे कैन बी शेयर होल्डर एज वेल, दैट्स अ सेपरेट थिंग, बट है तो वो एम्प्लॉय. But they are working like an entrepreneur. So your all CEOs, all your directors, all your business heads, all of them are entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, the leadership is entrepreneur because they are working, innovating, putting in efforts to grow the business, right? Can a CFO be an entrepreneur? Anybody, you can be also an entrepreneur, dost. If you are an innovator, you're bringing something new in the company, you're bringing something new, letting organizations say that, boss, let's take a risk, let's bet on this, and let's do something new. You are also an entrepreneur. कोई भी हो सकता है entrepreneur, उसमें क्या है, आप भी हो सकते हो. Entrepreneurs and employees are just like entrepreneur and businessman. ये कोई सेंस में नहीं दोस्त. प्रणव, entrepreneur and employees are just like entrepreneur and businessman. नहीं, कैसे, कैसे? Absolutely, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google है, सत्य नडेला. These are intrapreneurs. सैलरी मिल रही है बट काम ऐसे कर रहे हैं जैसे खुद का ही बिजनेस है. Cool. Okay. I don't see any questions and doubts so far. I think let's quickly, let me just check. Entrepreneurs should have their own business with with well profitability. No. Entrepreneurs do not necessarily have to have their own business. They are employees. Entrepreneurs need to have their own business. Intrapreneur तो employee है दोस्त. ठीक है ना. entrepreneur के लिए अपना business होना is mandatory. तभी तो वो entrepreneur है, तभी तो वो business कर रहा है, right? Employee and business both are not creative, but intra and entrepreneur both are creative. दोस्त businessman भी तो entrepreneur ही होता है, नहीं क्या प्रणव? Shopkeepers are innovative only. They have these tacky like posters and schemes. कहाँ से माल लेना है, कहाँ माल बेचना है, किसको कितने का बेचना है. Business people are also entrepreneurs only. Cool. Okay, G. It's 8:05. Let's take a break of 10 minutes and we will be back at 8:15 and start with chapter 8, right? We'll start with chapter 8. Let's take a break of 10 minutes, guys, and be back on time, please. All right, everyone, we are back. I'll just wait for another minute or so that you can also join, and we start with the last chapter, which is going to be really interesting because this is the final leg of what we have studied till now. This is like understanding what we have done till now and then finalizing it with the actual control जो हम इतनी देर से पढ़ रहे हैं control क्या होता है control क्या होता है. This is what we are going to study now. How do you control that, right? Cool. Okay, Jasprit is there, Pranav is there, Manoj, Bhumika, Suraj. अच्छा जसप्रीत दिस इज अ मनी वाला इमोजी है थोड़ी उल्टी वाला इमोजी है मेरी आंखें खराब हो गई बिकॉज देयर वाज ग्रीन आईज इन ग्रीन फेस मुझे लगा जसप्रीत सिंह नया चैप्टर शुरू करते उल्टी आ गई है ओके लेट्स वेट फॉर 30 मोर सेकेंड्स बाकी को मौका दे देते हैं भाग के दौड़ के आने का and then we get into chapter 8 strategy implementation and control. See we are on track schedule एकदम टाइम पे खचाखच टाइम पे चल रहे हैं with our schedule. जैसे now changed my costume मैं क्या जोकर हूँ यहाँ पे कह रहे कॉस्ट्यूम चेंज करके क्या मैं पहले कुछ और था अभी कुछ और बन के आ गया हूँ दोस्त वही है मैं सिर्फ 10 मिनट सो के आया हूँ I just slept for 10 minutes. Strategic managers are entrepreneurs. Yes, absolutely. चलें chapter 8 में all good final chapter. Thanks Pranav for so many emojis. अच्छा लगा मुझे देख के इतने सारे colors के thumbs up. Okay, cool. Let's go to our final chapter for strategic management. Chapter number 8, strategy implementation and control. होता क्या है करते क्या है इसमें alright the process was simple we talked about strategy planning we talked about core competencies competitive advantage different strategies at business level at corporate level at functional level we talked about organizational structures we talked about leadership how they manage change how they develop execution and everything सब समझ आ गया अब हम समझेंगे कि एक्चुअली इसको इम्प्लीमेंट और इसको कंट्रोल कैसे करते हैं फॉर्मुलेशन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन भी काफी हद तक हमने पढ़ लिया है द फाइनल चैप्टर समराइजेस योर एंटायर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द लास्ट 7 chapters wherein we have been talking about analysis we have been talking about strategies we are talking about ideas we are talking about how to manage things how to manage changes right now this chapter is going to talk about implementation and control as a final thing for any strategic manager that boss सब सही है मैं चेक कैसे करूं कि मैंने सही डिसीजन लिया था या नहीं very important question right whether my decisions whether my ideas whether my ways of doing things are right or not you in January decide that boss we as a business will focus on XYZ market let's say हम कहते हैं यार हम इंडिया में सिर्फ नॉर्थ इंडिया पे फोकस करेंगे इन जनवरी योर स्ट्रैटेजी वाज वी विल ओनली फोकस इन नॉर्थ इंडिया कमिंग मार्च एंड 3 महीने हो गए आपको आपने सब स्ट्रैटेजी बनाई एग्जीक्यूट करी सब कुछ करा यू स्टार्टेड फोकसिंग ऑन नॉर्थ इंडिया मार्च एंड 1 अप्रैल को आप बैठ के हाउ विल यू चेक कि यार हमने जो सोचा था वो सही था या नहीं मतलब व्हाट इफ वी वुड हैव फोकस्ड ऑन साउथ इंडिया व्हाट इफ वी हैव फोकस्ड ऑन वेस्ट और ईस्ट इंडिया हम लोग वहां फोकस करते तो क्या होता नॉर्थ इंडिया से जो एक्सपेक्टेशन थी ग्रोथ की क्या वो आ रही है या नहीं आ रही है राइट all these questions all these ideas all this checking all this control is what we are going to study now okay प्रणव, ये क्वेश्चन ही समझ नहीं आ रहा मुझे. Why are you guys so confused about entrepreneur and businessman? सेम चीज है दोस्त. Entrepreneur, business person is an entrepreneur. वो पुराना वर्ड है बिजनेस पर्सन. आज की डेट में उसको entrepreneur बोल देते हैं. मुकेश अंबानी इज entrepreneur. ठीक है, एज सिंपल एज दैट. भाई वो भी तो जियो लेके आए हैं नया. दैट इज व्हाट एन entrepreneur does. इट्स जस्ट दैट ही हैज मनी, ही हैज रिसोर्सेज. तो उनका स्टार्टअप जियो बहुत बड़ा है. अब जिसके पास नहीं है रिसोर्सेज, पैसे, नेटवर्क, उनका स्टार्टअप छोटे से स्टार्ट होता है तो वो भी स्टार्टअप ही दोस्त. राइट. सो अ बिजनेस पर्सन is an entrepreneur only, and an entrepreneur is a business person only. It's same thing. It's just that we are using the new word, new terminology. The latest terminology in the market is entrepreneur, so you are using that. कल को कुछ नया आ जाएगा, हम वो यूज करना शुरू कर देंगे. It's the same thing. It's the exactly same thing. Okay, cool. In chapter 8, we are going to study about 6 topics. Okay, 6 topic पढ़ेंगे. पहला है interrelationship between formulation and implementation. How is formulation dependent on implementation, and how implementation is dependent on formulation. This means you cannot build a strategy in isolation. कि भैया आपको पता ही नहीं है how to implement a strategy and you're just formulating a strategy. ठीक है. Your formulation of a strategy has to be in sync with implementation. आप जो implement ही नहीं कर सकते वो formulate मत करो, और जो आप formulate ही नहीं कर पा रहे हो उसको implement कैसे करोगे. For example, you say I will complete my syllabus 5 times in the next 1 month. बकवास strategy है. You cannot implement that. When you're not able to implement that, why are you formulating that? Right? So the interrelationship between strategy formulation and implementation is you need to be aware of what you can do, what your resources are, your time, your effort, whatever it is. Your resource can be anything. So how are these interrelated? एक ये छोटा सा topic पढ़ेंगे, right? And then we'll talk about strategic change. We'll talk about strategic control. We'll talk about strategic audit. We'll talk about BPR, business process re-engineering. We'll talk about benchmarking, right? All of this is related to implementation and control. Change, control, audit, re-engineering, benchmarking, interrelation of implementation and formulation. All of this is talking about implementation and control of strategic management. ठीक है जी. वेरी गुड मनोज. हिंदी में एंटरप्रेन्योर इज उद्यमी. बहुत ही बढ़िया. ओके, कूल. Strategy implementation. Okay, now it needs to be emphasized that strategy is not synonymous with long-term plan. Okay, now strategy is not a long-term plan. Exam question, please रट लो, याद रख लो, छाप लो इसको दिमाग में. Strategy is not a long-term plan. बट ये तो आपने बोला था चैप्टर 1 में कि ये तो लॉन्ग टर्म होता है, शॉर्ट टर्म नहीं होता है. बिल्कुल बोला था. However, we also said strategy is a continuous process. It is a continuous process of learning, of looking at changing, right? It rather consists of an enterprise's attempts to reach some preferred future state by adapting to competitive position and changes, right? It's not a long-term plan. Strategy is not a long-term plan. Strategy is ever changing. कुछ चेंज हुआ बदल दो, कुछ चेंज हुआ बदल दो. गवर्नमेंट चेंज हुई, स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज. कोई नया लॉ आ गया, स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज. कस्टमर प्राइसिंग चेंज हो गई, स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज. अ न्यू कंपेटिटर इन द मार्केट, स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज. You keep changing your strategy every single day, every week, every month, every 6 months, depending how volatile your environment is. Depending how fast your environment moves, you change your strategy as well. Okay. While a series of strategic moves may be planned, While a series of strategic moves may be planned, but competitors' actions cannot be foreseen. कि भैया competition क्या करेगा, सरकार क्या करेगी, external environment cannot be controlled. Hence, you cannot fix your strategy. You will always have to keep changing. But change करने के लिए you will have to keep re-looking at your strategy on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis कि भैया हम जो सोच रहे थे वो execute हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, right? And your moves will have to be modified accordingly. Now you think that I will go and sell this to a particular set of customers, let's say government, right? I am a producer of a product that even the government uses. Let's say Indian Army को मैं बेच रहा हूँ some medicine. Okay, I'm selling some specific medicine to the Indian Army. Now Indian Army says, boss, listen, as per our new reports, this medicine is not useful to us, so we are stopping. Now, me as a business, this was a huge customer for me. Indian Army was a huge customer for me, and now they think that my product is no longer needed. What should be my strategy? I will go and counter them with another study saying that this is more effective than any other medicine in the market. You should reconsider taking this medicine, right? You should go back and reconsider, because as per the latest studies that we have as a business or we have as a researcher, or our research says that this is the best medicine that you can get. You give them these insights, and this is how you do your change your strategies, right? कि यार एक कस्टमर है वो जा रहा है, उसको कैसे रोकना है, स्ट्रैटेजी बनाओगे, राइट? जब स्ट्रैटेजी बनाओगे you'll keep changing your moves, right? And if they still say कि नहीं, we don't believe this, we are just stopping the business, then you figure out how do I do that. How you would then want to go global. You were saying here I was so dependent on Indian Army as a customer, right? Now I want to look out as well. There are armies, there are defense forces across the globe. Let me just reach out to other countries. You would reach out to Japan, you would reach out to some other country, right? You will reach out to, let's say, France or UK or US and say, boss, this is something that we have been providing. If this suits you, you're happy to like give this, right? This is how. This is how you strategize or plan. Ever changing, कुछ भी हो सकता है ना? So you keep changing as well. Okay. This is what strategy implementation is all about. It's not a long-term plan. It's an ever-changing, continuous activity of doing new things, of bringing new things on the table. Okay. Now, it's a managerial exercise concerned with translating decisions into actions. It's a managerial exercise. See, I will upload chapter 7 and 8 today. Even if I do not complete chapter 8, I will upload. Why? Because you can actually refer to the keywords before we do revision in the next week, right? So I don't want to give you just half day to look out for all the chapters. I'll upload. You can sit down for 2-3 hours any day during the week, revise the entire thing using the PPTs, but study material पढ़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Questions come from study material. Questions do not come from these presentations. ये आपको अगर समझ आ गया, good for you. नहीं आया तो do not come back at me and say यार आपकी presentation में था नहीं, exam में आ गया. क्योंकि exam यहाँ से नहीं आता है, exam study material से आता है. ठीक है, जहाँ से exam आता है वहाँ से पढ़ो. This is just for revision, okay? Strategic implementation is a managerial exercise. It presupposes that the strategic choice was made considering feasibility and acceptability, which means presupposes मतलब assume करता है. Strategy implementation or strategic implementation assumes, right, that the choices were made considering feasibility and acceptability. That means feasible था. We could have done that. It assumes that we had looked at the resources, the time, the money, the capital, the kind of people we have, and it was accepted by everyone as a group, as a team. Okay. Now implementation requires supervision on two things. When you're implementing a strategy, जब आप एक strategy को actual actions में बदल रहे हो और actual action कर रहे हो, you need to check two things. Okay. Always when you are implementing actual action में जा रहे हो, आपको दो चीजों पे check रखना है. Number one is allocation of resources. अगर if you had decided or budgeted 1 crore rupees, you can only spend 1 crore rupees, right? If you have allocated 2 months for a project, you only have 2 months to do that. So allocation of resources, time, money, capital, people, ये आपका इंटैक्ट होना चाहिए. नंबर टू, द नीड फॉर अडेप्टिंग द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर टू हैंडल न्यू एक्टिविटीज, ट्रेनिंग पीपल, राइट? ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर चेंज होता है, नए लोग आते हैं, सम पीपल आर गोइंग, सम पीपल आर कमिंग इन. टू हैंडल न्यू एक्टिविटीज, ट्रेनिंग पीपल, you're devising appropriate systems so that next person can take up the work very quickly. ऐसा नहीं है कोई छुट्टी पे गया तो पूरी कंपनी बैठी हो, शिट अब काम कौन करेगा. There should be a set process, there should be a set system for things, so that if people leave, if the people are moving out or some people are coming in, the continuity does not break. Adapting to an organization structure, जो आपका structure है, if it's a matrix structure में people work. If it's a function structure में people are fitting in, the resources are fitting in, right? Two things जो आपको चेक करनी है. नंबर वन, allocation of resources. Second is adaptability of the structure, people. You're training people that people adapt with the change very quickly. आप जैसे implementation करते हो, whenever you're implementing a strategy which is ever changing, you need to check that it is adaptable. Plus allocation of resources. If your strategy changes with a change in the environment, your allocation of resources also moves here and there. राइट, यहाँ से पैसा उधर डाल दिया, वहाँ से यहाँ डाल दिया, एंड इसके साथ ही योर एवरीथिंग मूव्स. सो एलोकेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज एंड अडेप्टेबिलिटी ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आर टू थिंग्स you have to be very clear of when you are implementing a strategy. ठीक है, कि resources कैसे move कर रहे हैं and whether the organization is able to adapt to these changes or not. ये दो काम आपको strategic management ऊपर की आंख से करने हैं, which is like the top management, managerial exercise है. It's a managerial exercise. The manager's work. Strategy is a managerial exercise. The employees at the lower level do not do strategy, right? It is something that top management does. ठीक है जी, बहुत अच्छे. अभी चलते हैं. I'm seeing any questions. Entrepreneur should be there, okay? It should not be sticky. Meet, I think I missed that. It should not be sticky. क्या चीज sticky नहीं होना चाहिए? Implementation strategy. It should be ever changing is what you're saying. Maybe yes. That is what I understand. Okay. Good. Relationship between strategy implementation and strategy formulation. ठीक है जी. How are the two, implementation and formulation, connected to each other? आपस में कैसे एक दूसरे से बात करते हैं? Implementation and formulation. Okay. A company will be successful only when the strategy formulation is sound and strategy implementation is proper. इसका मतलब सिंपल है दोस्त. Strategy formulation is sound. Sound का मतलब sanity, logic से बनाई गई है, right? ये sound है means it has some logic, it has some rationale, it has some assumptions based on trend, based on study, based on knowing yourself. It is sound. When the strategy formulation is sound, based on logic, based on rationale, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, भैया SWOT analysis किया हुआ है ना formulation के time. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know the opportunities available, you know what are the threats to your business or strategy. It means it is sound. Logic लगा हुआ है बनाने में, हवा में नहीं बनाई है हमने कि ये कर देंगे वो कर देंगे. No, the strategy formulation is sound and the implementation is proper. जो करना है वो कर रहे हैं, right? You're following the steps, you're following what needs to be done, you're following the steps of the strategy. That means strategy implementation is proper. When your strategy formulation is sound and your strategy implementation is proper, your company will be successful. Your company will be successful when strategy formulation is sound, which means based on logic, based on rationale, based on SWOT analysis. As an example, I'm saying based on SWOT analysis. And strategy implementation is proper, which means you're doing what needs to be done. You're doing the right thing in the right way. Effective and efficiency, right? दो चीजें आती हैं. Effective and efficiency is strategy implementation in a proper way. Only then your strategy or your company will be successful. Okay. Now, what happens when implementation and formulation are not connected to each other? Okay. Now here's a very interesting matrix of relationship between implementation and formulation. ठीक है, बड़ा मजेदार है. Let's understand this matrix in next 2-3 minutes and you'll be like यार ये logic मत पढ़ाया करो हमें, इतना easy है, देखने में मुश्किल है. ठीक है. Okay. Now if your implementation, question to you, look at the matrix on the right. You have to focus on this matrix. Okay. इस matrix की बात कर रहे हैं हम, not इस बॉक्स की, इस मैट्रिक्स की बात कर रहे हैं. Look at this matrix and tell me, okay, if your implementation is excellent, you are really good at excellent, but आपकी formulation बहुत कमजोर है, you are too dreamy, you are too aspirational. आप जब strategy formulate करते हो तो बहुत ज्यादा सपने देख लेते हो, but आप implementation अच्छी करते हो, but you're action oriented, but you're too aspirational. तो क्या होगा आपके साथ? What will happen to your business when your strategy formulation is flawed, is weak, right? When your formulation is not based on logic, but based on emotions, but your implementation is very good. You implement it very well. What will happen to your business? डी तो ठीक है दोस्त, बता भी तो क्या करना क्या है. डी तो मैं पढ़ लूंगा, बट करते क्या है तब? Jaspreet has an interesting question. She says, how is it different from strategy is no substitute for sound, alert and responsible management? वहां पे we are talking about management, which means people. This means आपने strategy बनाई, अब आप सो नहीं सकते हो, right? It is no substitute for sound, alert and responsible management. That means if the if the CEO says या मैंने strategy बना दी, अब मैं छुट्टी पे जा रहा हूँ 4 महीने, that doesn't, you can't do that, right? It's ever changing. आपको हर वक्त ready रहना है, क्या कुछ भी change आ सकता है. So it is not a substitute for being ignorant. It's not a substitute for अरे हमने strategy बना दी अब हम जा रहे हैं अपने आप success आ जाएगी. नहीं. It's an ever changing, ever going process. That is what that means. Redesign your strategy, right? If your strategy is weak but you're really good at execution, then boss, go and redesign your strategy. Okay. Now, if your strategy formulation is absolutely perfect, क्या timetable बनाया है, you know when you will do what, you know how much time you have, बहुत ही सही planning है आपकी. Your plans are fantastic, but execute नहीं होते कभी भी. But your execution is ekdam poor. You're always too distracted. You're not able to execute the strategy, but your planning is fantastic. तो किस चीज पे काम करना है आपको? Redesign, ठीक है. Previous का again formulate the strategy. We will again formulate the strategy with adjustments. That is right. Product or services are good, so it's doing good in the market, but it will not be for the long term. Okay, चिन्मय अपडेट कर ली क्या ऐप? अब दूसरे वाले चैट बॉक्स में आ गए हो. Okay, Gudri says D. Strategy, Meet says वो strategy sticky नहीं होनी चाहिए, right? Sticky तो नहीं होनी चाहिए. It should be flexible. The second question का आंसर एक दो ने दे दिया है. I'm just waiting for others. When you have fantastic planning but really poor execution. What should you do? What should you do? New and innovative strategy नहीं यार. Formulation easy to implement. ये क्या आंसर हो गया? You should focus on leadership and focus on staff to implement it in a proper way, right? Which means you need to just work on execution, for which you might need strategic leadership, right? एक अच्छी strategic leadership चाहिए होगी to execute this strategy, because your formulation is good. You're good at planning, but आप execute नहीं कर पा रहे हो. Execute क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे हो? Because you might not have good leaders. अगर आपके पास अच्छे लीडर्स होंगे कंपनी में, आप एग्जीक्यूट भी कर लोगे, राइट? द बेस्ट पोजीशन टू बी इन इज when your implementation is excellent and your strategy is sound. When your strategy is sound and your implementation is excellent, आप position B में होगे, which is where success lies. Formulation is sound, implementation is excellent, you will be in column B, which is where the success for a business lies. Your formulation is based on logic, it's based on rationale, it's based on trends, it's based on knowing yourself as a business, and your implementation is excellent, you're doing what needs to be done. Your business strategy will be a good hit, it will be a success, right? That is how relationship between implementation and formulation works. Okay. Now, when I was telling you about good implementation, I said it should be effective and efficient. It should be effective and efficient. Now, it's an interesting thing to learn about efficiency and effectiveness. Okay. Efficiency means to do the things right, and effective means to do the right things. Okay. Now, implementation ke time you need to be efficient, while formulation ke time you have to be effective. Okay. Now think about this in isolation now. जब आप फॉर्मुलेट करते हो, राइट, इसको अलग अलग देखो. जब आप फॉर्मुलेशन करते हो, जब आप फॉर्मुलेशन की बात करते हो, व्हेन यू आर डेवलपिंग, नाउ थिंक अबाउट दिस as when you're planning for your studies. Okay, it's the best example for you to relate to. Or let's say you're planning a trip to Goa. Okay, you're planning a trip to Goa. What will you do? First is formulation of your plan, second is execution of your plan. When you're planning, when you're formulating a plan to go to Goa, okay, आप क्या करोगे? You will do the right things, right? Which means first step आप जाओगे, you will first consider जाना कब है, dates देखोगे, right? First you will decide on the dates. Season कैसा है, rate सस्ता मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा, prices सस्ते होंगे या नहीं होंगे, is it a rainy season, is it very hot season, it's a dry season, it's a festive season. You will do the right things, right? You will do the right things to do is check the weather, check the dates. Then you will look at dates, मेरे exam से clash तो नहीं हो रहे, right? It's not clashing with my exams or clashing with anything that's pending at my home, right? आप dates check करोगे. Then you will do what? Do the right thing is finding the right set of friends जो आपके साथ जाएंगे, right? You would have step by step approach of doing the right things when you're formulating a plan. It is called being effective, right? It is called being effective, wherein you are highlighting links between the organization and the environment. Okay. You're looking at yourself ki when am I available? You're also looking at external environment, which is वहाँ पे क्या weather होगा, वहाँ पे क्या festive season होगा, what will be the prices in Goa. So you're comparing your availability with how the season is in the external environment. This is called being effective. This is called formulation viewpoint. You are doing the right things. Okay, you're looking at your dates available and what kind of season, weather, prices are there in Goa, which is matching with your preferred timing, right? This is called doing the right things. It is called being effective. You are being effective in planning, right? But when I say efficient, it is more around implementation. Okay, efficient means doing the things right, doing the things right, which means doing the things right is it's inward looking, it's introspective, like cost cutting, shedding unprofitable divisions. Efficiency कैसे आती है? Efficiency अंदर, मतलब it's nothing to do with external. Effectiveness is a combination of internal and internal, which you have to do when you're formulating. But implementation is all about internal analysis, it's all about internal working. External environment का implementation से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Formulation का है, because when you're formulating you need to look outside as well, which you did when you're planning. Now when you're actually booking your hotels and flights, you do the things right, which means you figure out coupon codes, you use credit cards or debit cards, you wait for flight prices to come down, you negotiate with the hotel, you call up 10 hotels and figure out क्या package मिलता है, क्या मिलता है combination, right? This is an internal implementation strategy, doing the things right, right? You're doing it the right way. You're doing it the right way. Okay, that is called efficiency. You're efficient. You're efficient when you are implementing, when you're doing things within your control in the right way, right? That is called efficient. You're doing the right thing in the right way is called efficiency. While effectiveness is when you're doing the right things, which is both inward and outward looking, which is formulation, while implementation is being efficient, right? If somebody says, I am very efficient in formulation of a strategy, you cannot be. You can be effective in formulation, but you will be efficient in implementation. Okay. So doing the right things is effectiveness. Doing the things in the right way is efficiency, right? Doing the things in the right way is efficiency, and effectiveness is doing the right things. I'm effective. If you tell me I'm effective, that means I do the right things. मैं सही सही काम करता हूँ. That is effective. But मैं सही तरीके से काम करता हूँ. I'm efficient. I do the right thing, I'm effective. I do the things in the right way, I'm efficient. I do the right things looking at myself and the outside, because I know my strengths and weakness, I know the opportunities and threats, so I'm effective, right? Now, efficient is I know my strength and I'm going to work on that only. Internal hai. I'm going to use my strengths to implement, to work on the strategy that has been formulated while considering external environment. Now I have to put into actions. I'm efficient. I'm efficient. Okay, implementation. I plan well for studies, but weak in implementing it. So you have to register your implementation. Okay, Manoj, that is from previous. Pranav says, means effectiveness refers to results oriented, but efficiency is related to quality. Formulation is result oriented. Okay. And efficiency is related to quality. Can say so, Pranav. That's not a wrong statement. You can use that. What to do effectiveness, how to be efficient. What to do is effectiveness and how to do is efficiency. True, that is also, but use the word right things. Okay, doing the right things and doing the things in the right way. ये keywords हैं. What you're saying is also right, Pranav, but these are the keywords that you should be using in examination. Okay, I'll take a pause of 1 minute. Any thoughts, any questions that you think, or anything that you want me to explain again, let me do that. I'll take a pause for 1 minute. Something is confusing. If not, give me a thumbs up, give me okay, go ahead, whatever it is. If not, ask your questions, ask your doubts. To take measures to implement properly. Okay. पुराना आया है ये. All good. Bhumika, Darshan, Manoj, Pranav says all good. We can go ahead. What about others? I want others also to give me a thumbs up. Okay, if not, let me know what's confusing. जल्दी से please बता दीजिए so that I can go to the next one if needed. Suraj, formulation and implementation, simple English words. Formulation is building a strategy. Implementation is executing it. Okay. Formulation is planning a strategy. Implementation is executing, putting actions to your plans is implementation. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Let's go to the next one. जो सेम हमने अभी पढ़ा था. Okay. The previous matrix. Now that same thing is converted into efficiency and effectiveness. अब समझो इसको हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. Very interesting thing to learn. Okay. यहाँ देखो, we are talking about implementation and formulation. Implementation and formulation. ठीक है जी. Now same thing if I convert to efficiency and effective. Effective का मतलब है formulation से related. Efficiency का मतलब है implementation से related. Effectiveness is to do the right things. Efficiency is doing it the right way. Okay. Now, if you are effective but you are not efficient, अब देखो confusing शुरू हो जाएगा. Confusing questions in the exam will come like this. Company XYZ, right, has a team of 10 people who are efficient but not effective. Who are efficient but not effective, right? What will happen to their team? What will happen to the business they are handling? If they are effective but they are not efficient. Effective तो है, efficient नहीं है. Effective तो है but efficient नहीं है. तो क्या होगा? They are highly effective but they are not very efficient. They are highly effective but they are not efficient. जसप्रीत फिर से देखो ग्राफ को. They are highly effective but they are not very efficient. Effective मतलब formulation, efficiency मतलब implementation. So they're highly effective means planning तो बहुत सही करते हैं but उतना अच्छा implementation नहीं है. तो क्या होगा? Highly effective but low on efficiency. They will survive. Grow नहीं कर पाएंगे, सिर्फ survive करेंगे. Right? Now if you're highly efficient, आपका implementation बहुत strong है but आपका formulation weak है. You're highly efficient. Oh, you're highly efficient but you are very low on efficiency. Oh, on effectiveness. Sorry. You're highly efficient but very low on effectiveness. Right? आप effective नहीं हो but आप बहुत ज़्यादा efficient हो. तो आपके साथ क्या होगा? Your formulation is poor. Your implementation is fantastic. तो आपके साथ क्या होगा? You're highly efficient but you are very low on effectiveness. So आपके साथ क्या होगा? Right? You're highly efficient but you're very low on effectiveness. You will die slowly. Why? Give me reasons why. ऐसा क्यों होगा? Die slowly क्यों हो जाएगी ये कंपनी? Why will it die slowly and not quickly? Why will this company die slowly and not quickly? Objectives are improper and the business will not be able to survive. Okay. Why will it die slowly and not die quickly? बताएगा कोई? अब किसी को आंसर नहीं आ रहा, क्यों? Why will it die slowly and not quickly? Because in the short run, your your efficient will work. ये कौन सी इंग्लिश क्वेश्चन में, ठीक है? But you are efficient, so you will work, but not in the long term. That is right. Because your implementation is good, तो आप थोड़े दिन तो survive करोगे, but उसके बाद you will not, because your planning is flawed. Your planning is poor, right? You will survive in the short term because your implementation is good, but because your planning is poor, long term में नहीं जी पाओगे. Because जो planning ही poor है तो वो fail हो जाएगी. Absolutely, that is right, Rajiv. That is right, Avdesh. MBA student work for low scale business which is not required at all. क्यों? ये क्या बात हुई अवदेश? लो स्केल बिजनेस के लिए किसी को काम ही नहीं करना चाहिए. Because plans are good, at least they will be there for their good plan. ये देर के स्पेलिंग ठीक है प्रणव? But things are right but not in the right way. Wow, Bhumika is giving such a female answer. The things are right but not in the right way. Good. Chinmay says survive. ठीक है Chinmay. Sing one word answer. Survive. Okay sir. Survive. Because it is able to do what it thinks to do, but it is not able to think about what to do. Okay. Think about this. आपने प्लान बनाया पढ़ने का 5 घंटे, ठीक है? आप इम्प्लीमेंट भी कर रहे हो उसको, बट आपके पास है सिर्फ 2 घंटे, तो कैसे होगा दोस्त? योर प्लानिंग इज पुअर. आपके पास है ही 2 घंटे एंड यूर ड्रीमिंग ऑफ 5 hours, बट यू आर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग 5 hours. आप 5 घंटे पढ़ रहे हो, राइट? बट आपके पास है ही 2 घंटे. योर फॉर्मुलेशन वॉज पुअर. शॉर्ट टर्म में तो आप अच्छा कर लोगे, 6-7 दिन, हफ्ता भर यू विल बी गुड, बट देन यू विल बी अंडर स्ट्रेस बिकॉज यू डू नॉट हैव टाइम. समझे? So your planning is poor, your implementation is fantastic. Short term you will survive, but long term you will die slowly. So शुरू में तो बहुत अच्छा दिखेगा, फिर ढपक करके गिरेगा because your planning is poor. Okay, that is what this matrix is. Many questions can be created from these matrix itself, right? 50 क्वेश्चन मैं बना सकता हूँ इस मैट्रिक्स से. सो रीड दीज वेरी केयरफुली. वहाँ पे ग्राफ नहीं आता एग्जाम में सिर्फ क्वेश्चन आएगा. सो जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस ग्राफ, ड्रॉ दिस इन योर माइंड और ड्रॉ दिस इन द एग्जाम ऑल्सो. आंसर शीट में साइड में बना लेना. If you find a question which is coming from this, just draw a small matrix like this. The examiner will also be happy कि चलो पढ़ के आए हैं, right? Draw this on the right corner and then solve the question. Cool. Let's go to the next one, which is change. Okay, which is change. Change comes through implementation and evaluation, not through overemphasizing on strategic planning. Okay. Change comes through implementation and evaluation, not from planning. Change planning से नहीं आता है, change implementation से आता है. Change action से आता है, change सिर्फ aspiration से नहीं आता है. Okay? Change comes from implementation and evaluation, not from just planning, which is overthinking or over aspiring your formulation or a strategy. It comes from implementation and evaluation. Change comes through implementation and not from aspiration. Okay. But the question is, चेंज भी सही है जो कह रहे हो, चेंज भी सही है जो आप कह रहे हो कि भाई इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से चेंज आता है, फॉर्मुलेशन से नहीं आता है. प्लानिंग से नहीं आता है, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से आता है. बट एक्चुअल में डिफरेंस क्या है फॉर्मुलेशन और इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का? वेरी सिंपल. फॉर्मुलेशन इज इफेक्टिवनेस, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इज एफिशिएंसी. अभी पढ़ के आए हैं. Formulation is an intellectual process. It's about it's about planning, it's about dreaming, it's about thinking, it's about building a plan. Implementation is an operational process. Execution hai. Putting dreams, putting your plans to action is implementation, right? Strategy formulation is intuitive and analytical. It's based on trends, it's based on gut feeling, it's based on analytics, it's based on data, it's based on trends, it's based on studies, it's based on research. Strategy implementation requires leadership skills and motivation. फॉर्मुलेशन में लीडरशिप स्किल्स नहीं चाहिए, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में लीडरशिप स्किल्स चाहिए. प्लान तो कोई भी बना सकता है. कमरे में बंद होके एक लैपटॉप खोल के 5 पेपर पढ़ के प्लान आप भी बना सकते हो, राइट? Executing them, making 2,000 people in an organization work for you is where the real leadership skill comes, and that is implementation. Formulation is done by the top management, the top 10, 15 people, the CEOs, CFOs, the VPs. They create strategies with discussion amongst themselves. Implementation is done by business and functional level, which is middle and lower levels. Formulation is a top management managerial activity. Implementation is more on the middle and lower levels, wherein they actually implement the actions of the plans, right? Formulation versus implementation. Implementation ठीक है, पर evaluation से कैसे change आता है? क्यों नहीं आता है दोस्त? जब evaluate ही नहीं करोगे तो change कैसे करोगे? If you're not evaluating whether your actual implementation is working or not, how will you bring a change? Evaluation is super important. If you're not looking, mock test paper ही नहीं दोगे दोस्त तो पता कैसे चलेगा कितने marks आ रहे हैं? Evaluation is mock test papers. Evaluation is doing revision test papers, right? Revision karna is evaluation. Unless you revise, you do not know, you're not evaluating your preparation. Implementation is preparation. आपने prepare कर लिया, उसको evaluate ही नहीं किया. Evaluate कैसे करोगे? Mock test से करोगे, revision test paper से करोगे, right? So unless you evaluate, you cannot change your implementation also. So evaluation is way more important than just preparing. Parliament formulates law while executors implement it. ठीक है मनोज? Good example to understand. Okay. Strategy formulation does not differ greatly for small, large, for profit, not for profit, while implementation varies substantially. Very important exam question. Very important exam question, which says कि भैया formulation is almost the same process for all organizations of all size or condition or structure, for profit, not for profit, large, small, great, whatever it is. Formulation remains almost the same. The process of formulation is almost the same. However, implementation varies substantially. Implementation varies substantially because of the size, because of the volume, because of the organizational structure. Structure अलग-अलग है. Network structure में easy होगा implementation, but in a matrix structure, it is really difficult, right? So formulation is somewhat same for each, somewhat same. You're not saying exactly the same. It does not differ greatly for the size or the nature of the organization. However, implementation varies because of the structure, because of the size, because of the nature, because of the industry. It differs. One big difference between formulation and implementation. Okay. Now, it focuses on entrepreneurial activities, which is formulation, because it's decision making, it's dreams, it's finding innovation, doing something new, right? While implementation is more of administrative task. It's more about executing that. So formulation is more of entrepreneurial activity wherein you figure out new ideas, new business idea, new business plan. कोई बैठ के you're thinking about new things. it's formulation, while implementation is the administrative task. You go out and do that. Okay. Now there are two types of linkages, right, between formulation and implementation. It is called forward linkage and backward linkage. Very interesting topic and super easy to understand. Okay. Forward linkage and backward linkage. Forward linkage क्या होता है? Forward linkage is very simple. Basically, it means the impact of strategy formulation on strategy implementation. Formulation पहले होता है and then implementation होता है, right? First you formulate, then you implement. So the impact of formulation on implementation is called forward linkage. Forward linkage, which means how you formulate a strategy will decide how you implement it. How you formulate a strategy is actually impacting how you will implement it. If your strategy is more around growth, your implementation will be aggressive. If your strategy is more around stability, your implementation will be more easy or calm, right? If your strategy is more about starting something new, fighting new competition, you will be really aggressive in implementation as well. So when your formulation impacts your implementation, it is called forward linkage. It is called forward linkage. However, there are backward linkages as well, wherein your implementation decides your formulation, right? Wherein your implementation decides your formulation. और वो कब होता है? For example, you look at an example here. Changes are required in organizational structure or the style of leadership has to be adapted to the needs of the modified or new strategies. Okay, now think about this. Your implementation will impact your formulation. इसका classic example is automotive industry. Okay, now if the company thinks, if let's say Maruti Suzuki comes and says यार हमें बहुत ज़्यादा technology driven गाड़ियाँ बनानी है, I want Maruti Swift to look like Tesla or work like a Tesla. That is your formulation of a strategy. But can that be implemented in the factory? Can that be implemented with the resources you have, with the kind of money you have, the kind of factories you have, the kind of workers you have, the kind of technology you have? The answer is no. So your formulation is dependent on your implementation. That's a backward linkage. That's a backward linkage. So you also, when you're formulating, you're thinking about implementation कि यार implement ही नहीं हो पाएगा. That is a backward linkage. So your formulation is dependent on your actual execution, on actual implementation. That is a backward linkage of formulation and implementation. That when you're dreaming or when you're aspiring for a plan, you think, can I execute? Do I have the resources? Yes or no? The answer is no. You will not formulate it. So your formulation is dependent on implementation. But if you are formulating, right, and everything can be implemented or executed, so formulation decides how you implement it. That is forward linkage, right? That is a forward linkage. Now Amul says हम दूध बनाते हैं, हम आइसक्रीम भी बनाएंगे, right? और पनीर भी बनाएंगे. So it's a formulation, you can implement it. You do not have to think about implementation. Implementation वाला सोचेगा अच्छा अब से from today we also have to prepare पनीर, हमें packaged paneer banane banayenge. They work on implementation. So it's a forward linkage. But now Maruti wanting to develop cars like Tesla, it's a backward linkage. Implement ही नहीं हो पाएगा, right? Time लगेगा, बहुत resources लगेंगे. क्या है उनके पास? The answer might be no. The answer might be yes. Depends. And that is a backward linkage. And that is a backward linkage. Okay. With this example, I want you to give me one example of backward linkage. Let's see how creative you are. Give me one example of backward linkage different from my example. Different from my example. Give me one example of backward linkage. Think, be creative. कोई बात नहीं. मैंने भी तो अभी सोचा है. बैकवर्ड लिंकेज का एग्जाम्पल, थिंक अबाउट इट. सब गूगल करने चले गए हैं, प्रिटी श्योर, 100% श्योर सब गूगल कर रहे हैं. Because I usually get answers within this time and I have not got answers. Chalo, I see one from Manisha. She says, study planning before 3 months of exam. Okay. Backward linkage है, implementation, ठीक है. Can say so. Okay. Acceptable example, Manisha. We plan to study 5 hours in a day, but we also have college simultaneously. So we left with only 3 hours. So we plan accordingly. Absolutely backward linkage. जब implementation ही नहीं हो पाएगी, आपका implementation will decide your planning. Good. Manisha says, Diksha says almost the same example, which is good. Monica says maybe Twitter. बस खत्म. Twitter की strategy हम बैठ के सोचते रहे. Monica ने आंसर दे दिया. Monica थोड़ा सा explain कर दो. Maybe like Twitter, what like Twitter? कौन सी strategy Twitter की? Monica says एक मिठाई वाला सोचे मुझे हल्दीराम बनना है. ये सोच तो सकता है दोस्त. सोचने में क्या दिक्कत है? But हाँ, my point is the implementation will not. ये कोई प्लान नहीं हुआ ना दोस्त. मतलब ये कौन सी स्ट्रैटेजी, ये तो ड्रीम है, स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं है. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्ट्रैटेजीज. वीक इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ माई स्टडी प्लान, देन आई मस्ट फॉर्मुलेट स्टडी प्लान अकॉर्डिंगली. ठीक है मनोज, इफ यू थिंक you are weak at implementation, you plan accordingly, then it's a backward linkage because you know you are weak at something. Retail shop owner try to do marketing like Reliance. Can be, right? That's a backward link. They have to think, क्या हम implement कर पाएंगे? Yes or no? It's a backward linkage. Can you do that? Seem like example from Pranav Mithai wala wanting to be Haldiram, right? It's like if you're strategizing to like do to 1000x of revenue, 1000 गुना बड़ा होना है, resources है नहीं है तो plan क्यों कर रहे हो? Study all papers because then only we'll be able to score high marks. ये तो backward linkage कैसे हो गया? ये तो forward linkage है. This is the forward linkage. ये backward कैसे हो गया ये? What else? Think. Give me 1-2 more examples. Adding more KFC unit in Banaras. वाह विदेश, एकदम ही उल्टा एग्जाम्पल. ना ये एग्जीक्यूशन है ना ये फॉर्मुलेशन है, कोई लिंकेज ही नहीं है. एडिंग मोर KFC यूनिट एट बनारस बैकवर्ड कैसे दोस्त? बैकवर्ड लिंकेज कैसे है? ये तो यू आर प्लेइंग विद एक्सटर्नल एनवायरमेंट, डेमोग्राफिक्स, सोशियो कल्चरल एलिमेंट ऑफ योर एनवायरमेंट. मतलब प्लानिंग ही बकवास है तो बैकवर्ड लिंकेज का करोगे क्या? This is not backward linkage for sure. Okay, Monica says not sure, but maybe blue tick changes like before there is no cost included, but now the cost included for that. But how is that a backward linkage? How is the formulation dependent on implementation? It's a forward linkage, right? They just ideated, they planned that we will make money from blue tick as well in Twitter, and they implemented it. That's a forward linkage. Implementation is dependent on formulation here because they planned it and now they're executing it. Backward linkages, when your planning is according to your implementation restrictions or capacity. ICI planning to organize 5 sessions a day, yes. Maybe they will have to figure out whether they have so much faculty, time, bandwidth, resources, funds, because they're doing everything for free. Do they have the resources? Do they have time? Do they have bandwidth? Do they have the quality? Will they be able to deliver the quality they want? It's a backward linkage. Good example. Indian culture choosing Western culture. ये अवधेश किधर से आ रहे एग्जाम्पल? तो बिजनेस से एक भी आंसर नहीं आ रहा है. ये कल्चर में ही घूमते जा रहा है दोस्त, रिलीजन कल्चर में घूमे जा रहा है. बिजनेस से रिलेटेड दो कोई आंसर तो मजा है. वी आर डूइंग स्ट्रेटेजिक मैनेजमेंट, वी आर नॉट डूइंग सोशियो पॉलिटिकल स्टडीज. यहाँ पे ये आईएएस के लिए बढ़िया आंसर है. इफ यू गोना प्रिपेयर फॉर यूपीएससी, जबरदस्त आंसर है, लिख के आना. एयरटेल प्लान्स टू एंटर इनटू एफएमसीजी. Can be, right? ICA plan to organize हो गया. Okay. If one makes a strategy that he wants to spread the business whole of India, they should check first in logistics part. That is a good one, Pranav. Now you're talking money. Okay. If firm wants to employees to be innovative, but its organizing structure is highly authoritative and does not provide chances for working freely. That's a good one. That's a good one, Manisha. You can use this in examination as well. That your implementation is a foundation for your dream or aspiration or formulation, wherein you want the company to be more creative, but your leadership style or the organizational structure is more of authoritative कि भाई सबसे हाँ जी ले लो फिर काम करो. तो creative आदमी कहेगा छोड़ो यार, 50 लोग से पूछना पड़ेगा. After getting defeat in election, the politician thinks what went wrong to prepare for next elections. ये तो इवैल्यूएशन है, लिंकेज नहीं है. ये पढ़ेंगे आगे, विच इज कॉल्ड स्ट्रेटेजी ऑडिट. वो स्ट्रेटेजी ऑडिट बता रहे हो आप. Normal stores plan to become like DMart, so plan accordingly to the resource available. That's a good one. That's a good one. A clothing retailer relies on suppliers for textiles and accessories. The retailer's product line depends on the availability of the materials, so it must maintain a strong backward linkage with its suppliers to ensure a steady supply of new and fashionable items. That is right. That's a good one. Your implementation, your actual action capacity will decide your plans, right? When your implementation capacity is deciding your planning capacity, that is called backward linkage. When your planning is free to do and you just have to implement, your implementation is dependent on your planning, it's a forward linkage. A company would always want to be in a position of a forward linkage because you just have to implement what you dream of, right? While a backward linkage is more around looking at your resources and then dreaming, right? You look around your resources and then you dream. That is backward linkage, which is essentially what happens with a lot of us, a lot of businesses. However, the best position a business would want to be in is a forward linkage. ठीक है जी? Scenario analysis is like backward linkage. Absolutely, yes, it's a good tool for backward linkage. Good that you're joining the topics. Okay, cool. I think it's 9:20 already. I think I will not start with the new topic. Otherwise, वो loop में जाएगा and we might not be able to finish in within time. Let's take back our 10 minutes for Sunday here. Let's pause here for today. Let's wrap up today here and we'll start with this issues in strategy implementation in next session, and we'll complete chapter 8, audit, strategy, benchmarking, business process re-engineering. 99.99% हर बार ही आता है वो एग्जाम में. बिजनेस प्रोसेस री इंजीनियरिंग और स्ट्रेटेजी ऑडिट तो फेवरेट टॉपिक्स है एग्जामिनर का. पक्का देते हैं एक बड़ा सा क्वेश्चन उस पे, राइट? स्पेशली इन केस सिनेरियोस दे आस्क अ लॉट, इन इंडिपेंडेंट एमसीक्यूज दे आस्क अ लॉट, राइट? सो वी विल स्टडी दैट नेक्स्ट टाइम, next Saturday, And Sunday, which will be our last class, right? Sunday ko we will do we will aim to do at least two full-length exam papers wherein we discuss how to write answers, not just strategic management, but ICI का फॉर्मेट क्या है फॉर एनी थ्योरी पेपर फॉर एनी प्रैक्टिकल भी बता देंगे. इफ यू वांट टू लर्न अबाउट अकाउंटिंग और ऑडिट आई विल जस्ट लेट यू नो व्हाट आई नो बेस्ट, सो वी कैन डू दैट एज वेल, राइट? नहीं सूरज, मुझे प्रॉब्लम, मेरे पास भी संडे है, आपको प्रॉब्लम, मेरा भी तो संडे है. कल अकाउंट्स का पेपर है, बीकॉम का क्या लगता आएगा? एक लंबा सा क्वेश्चन जरूर आएगा. इफ यू हैव अमेलगमेशन और कंसोलिडेशन 100% आएगा, और डेप्रिसिएशन ट्रिकी आएगा उसके अंदर फॉर श्योर. Okay, I'll just wait for another 1 or 2 minutes for any doubts and questions that you have. For others who have no questions, everything is clear. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next week. I'm staying here for 2 minutes for others who have any questions. Thanks, Komal. Kuri says Zomato plans to expand its business in rural areas, delivering 30 minutes. That's a good one example. Kudri, आप मेरे को तो लगता है आप ऐप अपडेट करो. I can see your answers, but in a different tab, so I have to go and here and there. But that's a good one for backward linkage. That Zomato planning to extend 30-minute delivery in rural areas. That's a good one. ठीक है जी, अकाउंट्स का बताएंगे. अमेलगमेशन है ही नहीं. अच्छा है ही नहीं तो फिर तो भाई जाओ, इजी पेपर आएगा. सबसे टफ वही होता है. Sure, Manoj, we'll do for advanced accounts as well. Thanks, Suraj. Thanks, Monica. यशिका, ऐप में मिलेगा आपको BOS डाउनलोड्स, नोट्स चैप्टर 6 तक अपलोडेड है. 7 and 8 are going to be uploaded today, so maybe by tomorrow you can see these chapters as well. Update your apps if you're not able to figure out or find PDFs. I have seen that with a lot of people. You need to update the app or go to the website and download it. Okay, go to the BOS portal, VLC live classes live.ici, and you can download from there, or if you're using the app, update your app. Okay, you'll see that. Vedanta plan to manufacture chip in India. A lot of companies, not just Vedanta, Tata भी आ रहा है दोस्त. Tata iPhone बनाने वाले इंडिया में. Cool. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Till then, have fun, and I will do a last chapter. Take care, guys. Bye.